Astadipatyam gunasanivaye
Ashtadhipatyam gunasannivaye
Sahaiva gachan manasendriyascha
Sahaiva gachan manasendriyascha
Yadi prayasyan nripaparamestyam
Yadi prayasyan nrupaparameshtam
Vahayasanam mutayat viharam
Vaihayasanam udayad viharam
Astadipatyam gunasanivaye
Ashtadhipatyam gunasannivaye
Sahaiva gachan manasendriyascha.
Sahaiva gachan manasendriyascha
Please.
Yadi prayasyan ripaparameshtyam
Yate papayasyan nipaparamestyam
Vaihayasanam tayadviharam
Pahayasanam utayat viharam
Ashtadhipatyam gunasannivaye
Astadhipatyam gunasannivaye
Sahaiva gachan manasendriyascha
Sahaiva gachan manasendriyascha.
Yadi prayasyan nrupaparameshtam
Yati payasyam nipaparameshyam
Vaihayasanam utayat viharam
Vahayasanam mutayat vyaram
Ashtadhipatyam gunasannivaye
Hastadipatyam gunasanivaye
Saheva gachan manasendriyescha
Sahaiva gachan manasendriyascha. Word for word translation. Yadi,
Yadi,
however,
however,
prayasyan,
prayasyan
maintaining a desire,
maintaining a desire
nripa,
Nrupa,
O king,
O king,
paramestyam,
parameshtyam
the governing planet of the material world,
the governing planet of the material world,
Vahayasanam,
Vaihayasanam
of the beings known as Vahayasas.
the beings
known as Vaihayasas.
Uta,
Uta,
it is said,
it is said
yet,
Yat,
what is
what is
Viharam,
viharam
place of enjoyment,
place of enjoyment
Asta Adipatyam,
Ashta Adhipatyam,
loading it over with eightfold achievements,
loading it over with eightfold achievements
Guna Sanivaye,
Gunasannivaye
in the world of the three modes of nature,
in the world of three modes of nature
Saha,
Saha
along with
along with
Eva,
Eva
certainly,
certainly
Kachet,
Gachet
should go,
should go
Manasa,
Manasa
accompanied by the mind,
accompanied by the mind
Indriyai,
Indriya
and the senses,
in the sense,
Cha,
Cha
also.
also
Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Ja
However, O king, if a yogi maintains a desire for improved material enjoyments, like transference to the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, or the achievement of the eightfold perfections, travel in outer space with the Vaihayasyas, or a situation in one of the millions of planets, then he has to take with him the materially molded mind and senses. Purport. In the upper status of the planetary systems, there are facilities thousands and thousands of times greater for material enjoyment than in the lower planetary systems. The topmost planetary systems consist of planets like Brahmaloka and Dhruvaloka, the pole star, and all of them are situated beyond Maharloka. The inhabitants of those planets are empowered with eightfold achievement of mystic perfection. They do not have to learn and practice the mystic process of yoga perfection and achieve the power of becoming small like a particle, animacity, or lighter than a soft feather, like hemacity. They do not have to get anything and everything from anywhere and everywhere. Prapticity, to become heavier than the heaviest. Mahima City, to act freely, even to create something wonderful or to annihilate anything at will, is Shitva Siddhi. To control all material elements, Vashita Siddhi. To possess such power as will never be frustrated in any desire, Prakamya Siddhi. Or to assume any shape or form one may even whimsically desire, Kamavasaitva Siddhi. All these expediences are common as natural gifts for the inhabitants of those higher planets. They do not require any mechanical help to travel in outer space, and they can move and travel at will from one planet to any other with no time. The inhabitants of the Earth cannot move even to the nearest planet except by mechanical vehicles like spacecraft, but the highly talented inhabitants of such higher planets can do everything very easily. Since a materialist is generally inquisitive to experience what is actually in such planetary systems, he wants to see everything personally. As inquisitive persons tour all over the world to gain direct local experience, the less intelligent transcendentalist similarly desires to have some experience of those planets about which he has heard so many wonderful things. The yogi can, however, easily fulfill his desire by going there with the present materialistic mind and senses. The prime inclination of the materialistic mind is to lord it over the material world. And all the siddhis mentioned above are features of domination over the world. The devotees of the Lord are not ambitious to dominate a false and temporary phenomenon. On the contrary, a devotee wants to be dominated by the Supreme Dominator or the Lord. A desire to serve the Lord, the Supreme Predominator, is spiritual or transcendental, and one has to attain this purification of the mind and the senses to get admission into the spiritual kingdom. With a materialistic mind, one can reach the best planet in the universe, but no one with a materialistic mind can enter into the kingdom of God. Senses are called spiritually purified when they are not involved in sense gratification. Senses require engagement, and when the senses are engaged totally in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they have no chance to become contaminated by material infections. Read the verse once again. Yadi prayasyan ripaparamestyam vahayasanam mutayat viharam astatipatyam gunasannivaye Sahai Vagachan Manasandriyascha. However, O king, if a yogi maintains a desire for improved material enjoyments, like transference to the topmost planet Brahmaloka, or the achievement of the Eightfold Perfections, travel in outer space with the Vahayasas, or a situation in one of the millions of planets, then he has to take away with him the materially molded mind and senses. Om Ajnanati Mandasya Janansa Shaka Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shirove Namah Shitchetanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutalishvam Rupkadamyam Dadanti Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Padakamanam Shiyum Vaishnavam Sha Shirupam Jagajatam Sakanarahnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pajana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakanalita Shivashakam Vitam Sha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Punyamuneswari Vishwan Sitadevi Pranamama Hari Priya Pacha Kalpta Vishakhe Prasanabhivsha Padnam Pavanbhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishes Sunyavade Paskachaya Desatarane Srila Prabhupada Ki. So in the beginning of this canto, Maris Brexit asked that question, what's the duty of a man about to die? And then Sukadev Goswami, he said, that's a very, very good question. Varyam Ishate Prashna, very good question, because all these materialists, they are not asking such questions. All those who are attached to family life and enjoyment in this world, they are not asking these questions. And then he gives the answer to this question. Tasma Bharata Sarvatma Bharavan Ishvarohari Shotafya Smartatafyasya Smartafya Sesatabayam. Tasma Bharata Sarvana Bharavan Ishvarori Shotafyo Kirtitafyasya Smartafya Sesatabayam. Sesatabayam Abayam. If you want to be fearless at the time of death in 7 days, when the snake birds come to attack you, then you meet your death. You can be fearless only when you hear about Krishna, remembering Krishna, hearing, speaking about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, and remembering Krishna. So that's the process. But not everyone is ready to take up that process. You must already accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Lord. And many are not ready for it. Therefore, out of compassion for everyone, Sukadev Goswami starts with speaking about accepting the universe as God. The Virat Rupa, seeing God in the universe and worship this Virat Rupa, this form of God in the form of the universe. But then in this chapter, he speaks for further advanced yogis who practice the Astanga Yoga system to purify the mind and to fix the mind on the Supreme Lord in the heart. But here in these verses, it's explained that some are deviating from that purpose because of material attraction. Because as a byproduct of this process of yoga, one develops mystic powers. Mystic powers. And they're all listed in this purport, all these 8 siddhis that Prabhupada told about a teacher he had who had this I think it was a Kama Vayasita Siddhi, assume any form or form one may whimsically desire. Of was it Prakamya Siddhi, that one has the power not to be frustrated in any desire. but he had the power to prolong his hand, and he could take kind of fruit. I don't remember the fruit, but that grows a fruit that was growing only in the Himalayas somewhere. So and he said to his students, just wait a minute. He went into the other room. He meditated, and he brought a fresh fruit that only grows there. That so he had this power. Prabhupada also will tell us about a yogi who had the power to make him smaller than the smallest. That's power of becoming a small like particle, anima siddhi. So the police arrested this yogi for a crime and put him in the jail. So they put him in the jail, and it was all locked. And a few hours later, he was not in the cell anymore. It was gone. He was just sitting home again. So it could make him smaller than the smallest. Went to the opening of the keyhole and went home. That so you have these siddhis, these mystic powers. So if one becomes attracted to these mystic powers and one wants to use them, then one deviates from that yoga process. But also that as long as there is some material desire left, even a faint material desire, the yogi attains destinations in this material world, even with a faint desire. So it is also explained in the 11th canto that without bhakti, one can even not, without a tinge of bhakti, one cannot even attain these mystic perfections. There must be a tinge of bhakti at least. That, but to go to the spiritual world without developing bhakti, your heart will not be completely purified. It's not possible. That just not possible. And that's explained in the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam. That there, Sukadev Goswami says to Maharaj Pariksit, Keset Kavalaya Bhaktya Vasudev Parayana, Agam Dumvanti Karsniya Niyaram Ivabhaskara. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna, can uproot the weeds of sinful action with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. So this means, like in the morning, fog comes up, and when the sun comes, it has to go. That the fog has to go. That, but that this yoga system, this so-called purification through breathing exercises and so on, that it purifies the heart, but not completely. The root of the desire is still there. It's and Sukadev Goswami explains it to Maharaj Pariksit by making a comparison to a bamboo forest. You have a forest with all bamboo sticks, bamboo, yeah. And then a fire comes and all the bamboo is burnt away. That one cuts just all the bamboo, but the roots are still there. So the bamboo forest is gone. But then the rainy season comes, and because the root is there, it starts to grow again. That so by that, yeah, it the root of the desire is remains there. There is another verse that says, I tried to find it, but Yat Pada Pankashapala, that's how it begins. But this verse says that materialistic people, they cannot understand how devotees get rid of all these desires. They are surprised that they can give up all these material desires. And we see also when devotees joined the movement, they became very quickly bright-faced because they could give up these material desires very easily by performance of devotional service. But the yoga process does not uproot the basis of these material desires. And therefore, desires, even slight desires, remain. That, of course, there are many of these yogis are impersonalists and they want to join with the Brahmajyoti. And they think Brahman is God, so they want to become God, like that. And they think they are God. The only problem is their individuality. They want to give up their individuality and then join the absolute Brahman, that then become one with Brahman. But that in itself is a strong material desire. Desire to become God. That's not. That's quite the biggest material desire one can have. So they have still material desires. So it's tricky that because if we have still material desires, then we may go to the heavenly planets in the next life and enjoy there for many thousands of years, millions of years maybe. And then when our pious credit is up, we have to come back. that so this is quite dangerous for devotees. Devotees do not want to go there. That if you ask devotees, do you want to go to the to the heavenly plans? They will say nay. No, I will not. But when they see advertisements and billboards on the street, they become attracted. The advertisement of a new phone or a new car, and they become attracted. So the desire is still there. And that so it's not easy to uproot them, but it's made easy by devotional service to uproot these strong material desires. Therefore, in the yoga system, and at least not the kind of yoga they think of in the West, but a bona fide yoga system. If in India, if you want to join a yoga ashram, perform yogim, you must be celibate. Otherwise, you don't enter. And that was, at least that was so in the ancient times, that you must have the qualification of renunciation. And otherwise, it's no use. That, but Bhakti Yoga is such a strong process that it helps us to overcome material desires, even if one is in the Grihastha ashram. Grihastha ashram is an ashram, that an ashram in which you can make spiritual advancement. That so this is, of course, this develops as we mature in Krishna consciousness. Because it is mentioned in Madhurya Kanambini, yes, your karma from previous life, the gross karma, if you come to the end of anartha-nivritti, nishta, this karma is all gone. But still there are no subtle desires left. There's still, you are still somewhat identifying with the body. It's only when you come to Ruchi and then Shakti and up to Bhava, there is still a slight identification with the body. It only goes away when you get into prema. That so this is, but the yogi, their process is they are acting on their own strength, own power. The power to concentrate the mind. The breathing exercises is mechanistic. It's going very slow. It's very difficult. But the devotee, at least in the first four stages, Shraddha, having faith, Sadhu Sangha, associating with devotees, taking initiation and so on, and then Bhajana Kriya, learning the process of devotional service, then Anartha-nivritti. In these stages, we act also partially on our own strength by following the instructions of the spiritual master. By following these instructions, we follow the instructions of the spiritual master, we perform sadhana. And then by doing that, we are pleasing Krishna, and Krishna starts to purify our heart. So we have to do our part, and Krishna does his part. And up to liberation, nishta. But then after liberation, our part becomes our part is still important, but we depend completely on the mercy of Krishna in these higher stages. That Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhava and Prema. It depends completely on the mercy of Krishna there. Of course, we continue to endeavor, but progress in these higher stages depends on the mercy of Krishna. And without the mercy of Krishna, we cannot attain this 100% purification. Therefore, that is surrender to Krishna. A devotee says to Krishna, I'm surrendering to you, you take care. That devotee knows, on my own, I cannot do anything. But this feeling of surrender and helplessness is not there in the yogi. The yogi has his goals, and they have many times goals in this universe, because or the Brahmajyoti, not Vaikuntha, because they are not completely purified. That we spoke yesterday about Avisuddha Buddhaya, Aruya Krishna Prampanam Tata. With great endeavor, they try to merge with Brahman, great endeavor. But Avisuddha Buddhaya, their mind is still impure. And if you have an impure mind, you cannot get out of material nature. They remain in material nature. They remain the servant of the material mind and senses, the subtle body. The subtle body is still there and will carry them to another situation in this material universe. And there are so many planets that, of course, especially here it's mentioned, Marloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Brahmaloka, that in this higher Siddhaloka, that they have great cities, they have these mystic cities, and they can travel from one planet to another, that travel in outer space. And there are millions of these planets. So we know when Kardama Muni and Devahuti, when they married, Kardama Muni had this mystic power, and he created a mansion in the air, a spaceship, and they went on sightseeing all over the universe. Just visit to Kailash and heavenly planets, and they saw everything. Just by his mystic power, and that they could do that. Also, Chitraketu, it became a Vidyadhara. And as a Vidyadhara, as a kind of lower demigod, he was traveling with a Viman, with some female Vidyadharas, and was traveling all over the universe doing Sankirtan, Kirtan. That's interesting. And they came at Kailash, visit Lord Shiva and Parvati, but that went wrong. Because Lord Shiva was sitting at Kailash, in the heavenly planets, you have the biggest banyan tree in the universe. And Lord Shiva was sitting under this tree, and Lord Shiva was with his right hand instructing great sages in the yeah, in Bhakti Yoga, because Lord Shiva had also elevated disciples who he instructs in Bhakti Yoga, and with his left hand he was embracing Parvati, who was sitting on his lap. And when Chitraketu was saw this funny sight, he started to laugh. And Parvati was thinking, it's, oh, he's offending Lord Shiva, and he cursed him to become a demon in next life. That and Chitraketu came down and was smiling and said, "Thank you, I am accepting your curse." And then Parvati turns to Lord Shiva and said, "I curse him, and he's not even disturbed." And Lord Shiva said, "Yes, these devotees of Vishnu, whether they are in hell or in heaven, it's all the same for them." That so hell or heaven, it's the same. And as a devotee, it's not interesting to go to this heavenly planet and enjoy there because only by pure devotional service is that desire, this desire for material enjoyment is removed from the heart. That so this desire is removed on the condition our devotional service is not mixed, but pure. Pure devotional service means pure motivation, that only to please Krishna. Jnana karma anavritam. It should not be covered. Avritam is covered. Anavritam is not covered. Should not be covered by jnana and karma. That jnana, wanting liberation, that's a covering. Or wanting, yeah, kam means material desires. It's covered. So because many of these yogis have not that pure intention in heart. And if the pure intention is not there, they want still to enjoy on a higher level, a much higher level, much finer enjoyment. It's a desire for improved material enjoyment. They want to enjoy in so many ways that that's explained in so many words here in Prabhupada's purport. Some of these yogis have their destination. They want to go to this kind of planet of that of us attain these mystic perfections, and they focus on that. But as long as these material desires are there, you have a material mind and intelligence, and you remain under control of them. As long as you are connected with them, that's a covering. And the coverings of the universe are, there are these 8 coverings. Every covering in this universe, to get out of this prison of this universe, you have to go through this covering, and only the pure soul can go through it. If you are connected with mind and intelligence, because there are coverings of mind and intelligence, you cannot go out of it. You stay stuck in this material world. Just the slightest material desire. I remember that Jayananda who built this the first Ratayat cart in America here. Jayananda. He was 1976, 1977. He had leukemia, and he was diagnosed to leave his body soon. And one time during Mangalarti, he was he was staying very close by, and the devotees had Mangalarti, and during Mangalarti they felt ecstatic, and then they heard that during Mangalarti, Jayananda left his body. And Prabhupada first said, yes, he's gone to the heavenly planets. But then when he heard that he got the garland of Jagannath and that it was during Mangalarti, he said, no, he's back to Godhead. He said, interesting. But if we have still material desires, we may go there. That it's quite a dangerous thing. But and many of us may have already gone there a few times and come back. We don't know, but that maybe that this is the heavenly plans. Because it is said that in our Prabhupada said in our movement, the demigods are waiting to take birth. Because if you become a human, in one time you can perfect yourself by devotional service, a short lifetime, and go back. Because their lifetime is very, very long, and they are stuck there with their material desires. On the heavenly planets, becoming Krishna conscious, forget it. The allurements are 1,000 times more than here. That it's you are really imprisoned in this, and therefore Prahlad Maharaj he prays to Lord Nrsimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj, that Lord Nrsimhadev said to Prahlad Maharaj, ask me a boon, I will give you everything what you want. And Prahlad Maharaj said, don't entice me with that proposal, because you know, I've been born in a family of demons, and demons are not really attracted to sense enjoyment, but I don't want it. You are my eternal master. I'm your eternal servant. And by engaging in your service, I'm fully satisfied. I don't need these things. That so if you want to give me a boon, then grant my father liberation. He was asking for his father. And then he asked, that I'm very much indebted to my spiritual master who gave, by his mercy, I became Krishna conscious. So bless me that I can always remain in his service. That was his desire. And these desires will help us to get out of the material world. That this focus. I'll stop here. Any comments, questions? Yes.
I would like to ask you, first of all, thank you, Maharaj, for another amazing class, like always. I have a few questions also from previous lectures that are kind of connected, so if you can answer. We were speaking about that our subtle body we are carrying for a long, long time. And my question is that why small child doesn't remember, or it takes time to revive our previous consciousness or part of Krishna consciousness from previous lives. It is not like some child born and then he is completely focused, or he doesn't remember his advancement from previous life. So why we have to wait? And for example, Prahlad Maharaj, he was Krishna conscious when he was very, very young. So compared to this case.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Why in our previous life we have uh, we have performed devotional service. Why in this life it doesn't appear immediately, and it takes some time. That so in this life we are servants of the circumstances that Krishna gives us. If you have the body of a dog, can you become Krishna conscious? No. You identify with the body. Hmm? If you get the body of a small child, a baby, it's like an animal. We cannot come to that point. First, the body must develop, and the consciousness will then revive gradually. But there are exceptions. We learn about that in the scripture. Bharat Maharaj, when he left his body, because he was nearly, he was in Bhava. He fell down from Bhava, what's very exceptional. But he got the body of a deer. And by Krishna's mercy, he remembered everything from his previous lives. And he was even Krishna conscious in that body. And he was waiting until the end of the body, and then he became Jad Bharat. So we see the same thing with Prahlad. Prahlad had heard in the womb. We can say Krishna consciousness in the womb. How is this possible? But we heard from the Bhagavatam that when the child gets 7 months, it becomes conscious in the womb, and it prays to the Supreme Lord. But then it comes out and forgets everything. That because consciousness is there. So Krishna consciousness is transcendental. It's not depending on any material circumstances. But it means that how did Prahlad become Krishna conscious in the womb? And that's explained in Act of Devotion. By the ardent blessings of Narada Muni, he became that. And by that, when he took birth, it was not an ordinary birth. That is the birth of a Nitya Siddhi devotee. Nitya Siddha devotee. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Another question, like you mentioned in the whole program, doesn't matter, but on your class you mentioned that we can make our way to back to God and into like devotees in 2 or 3 lifetimes. You said that this is possible, but I was wondering, Prabhupada said, go back to God in this lifetime. So if you can kind of explain.
Yeah. So it's mentioned usually in Act of Devotion that the devotional service is a slow process, takes usually 2-3 lifetimes. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, you should do it in this lifetime. And Prabhupada also said, don't let me come back, do it in this lifetime. So it means becoming committed, strongly committed to devotional service. But like I explained yesterday also, you have different phases. In the beginning, we come to this movement. We become a congregational member, so usually first, and then we become committed. We take initiation and so on. But so Lord Krishna's main instructions are not only Manmana Bhav Madbhakto Machi Mam Namaskuru. You think of me, you become my devotee. That and then you engage in devotional service. This is the process explained in this verse, and Krishna in the next verse said, Sarvadam Prijya Mamikam Samvacham Sansarapabhyam Oxishyamacha. Just surrender unto me. Do that, what I said in the previous verse, and all the other process. Forget it, just do that. But then he says, then he instructs us to explain this process of devotion service to the devotees, to preach. And that's a shortcut. If we don't come to that higher level, so we are committed, okay, but then we should become a core member, dedicated to Prabhupada's preaching mission. And finally, engage fully in Prabhupada's mission. And that pleases Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we can go back in this lifetime. But we have to come to that higher level of preaching, to go in this life back to Godhead. That will assure us Krishna's mercy. That we are dedicated to preaching Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya will appear in our mind at the time of death. Make sure we think of Krishna. So that requires mercy. Mercy is blind. And mercy comes through Prabhupada. And Prabhupada gave us the process of Krishna consciousness. He gave us also a movement and a mission. So we should use everything. He gave us everything, we use everything, and then we can go back to God in this lifetime. That's what I realized by reading and for so many years preaching, that we need mercy. And mercy comes by engaging in Prabhupada's mission. Is that all?
Very much. Thank you, Maharaj. And just a funny thing that you mentioned that we have some kind of understanding, or we are connected with our body, and until actually Bhava platform, only on Prema, so we completely understood that we are not this body. So I'm just laughing because Prabhupada said that this is like first step in Krishna consciousness, to understand that we are not this body, but it's actually to fully understand this is Prema.
Yeah, there's still some light identification with the material body up to Bhava. When you enter Prema, Nectar of Devotion explains we become like a drunken man. A drunken man is not aware whether he wears cold clothes or not. So we become like a drunken man. We are not aware that this body is there or not. We are identifying with our spiritual body. And at the same moment, death means, oh, I lost this material body. Yeah, that is prema. Yeah, but that's a high level.
But what is funny on that we have to understand we are not this body. But actually, to get to this point, we have to go to prema.
Right? Yeah. We need prema to go back to the.
And one thing it's kind of contradictory, seems like this tinge of bhakti of these yogis trying to get to that point of perfection, the siddhis. Tinge of bhakti, I never heard that, because I thought always that this is material. Yeah, it is material desire.
Yeah.
But why tinge of bhakti? How, if they have bhakti, why they are looking for? So why, if you can?
That is explained in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, Uddhav Gita. Okay. At the end there, in the last chapters, Krishna discusses all these mystic siddhis and how to achieve them. But each siddhi, to achieve it, there must be a tinge of bhakti. Otherwise, they cannot get it. That because these are Krishna's energies. That they must see the connection with Krishna, so they cannot get it. That's in the 11th canto.
But we can say that everything is Krishna's energy. What is the difference?
Everything is Krishna's energies, but to get these perfections, one must see the connection with Krishna and have a little bhakti, a little devotion. Otherwise, they will not manifest. That is in the 11th canto. Good. Thank you very much. Chandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
I have a question.
Yes, Jayadvaj Prabhu.
Yeah, the question is one of the rules and regulations is to follow the rules and regulation for the sake of following it, and that brings to my mind that you chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds, or you follow rules and regulations, but you don't make advancements. How you explain that?
Yeah, because following rules and regulations, there are rules and regulations. Rules, we have to follow the 4 relative principles to avoid sinful activities. But the regulations means the positive. The positive means Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pat, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vedanam. 9 processes of devotional service, and the most important process of devotional service is there for us, the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. So you can follow the process nicely. So you chant, in the process of devotional service, you have first Shraddha, faith. Then in the next stage, you have Sadhu Sangha. You learn the process from a spiritual master and you follow his instructions. And then from the spiritual master, you learn how to perform devotional service, also from the devotees, Bhajana Kriya. And Bhajana Kriya in the beginning may be unsteady. There are 6 symptoms of unsteadiness, but then after some time you become steady in devotional service. You chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna. You follow the regulative principles. But then you have to go to the next stage, Anartha Nivritti. One can only go to Anartha Nivritti, the purification of the heart, when one has the right attitude. You can follow all these rules and regulations, but if you don't have the right attitude, your heart will not become purified, even when chanting 16 rounds. You need the right attitude. That's explained by Lord Chaitanya. Trinata Pishnishna, Tarora Vishishna, Amana Manandana Kirtanya Sadahari. Nadanam Najanam Nasundaram Kavata Vashi Shikami, Mama Chamami Chamamishvare, Bhavta Bhaktira Height Bitvari. So you need to be humble, tolerant, devoid of false prestige, giving all honor to others. Then the chanting of the holy name will purify your heart. And in a higher state, don't want wealth, just want to serve Krishna. Don't want relations with the opposite sex. Don't want followers, Lord Chaitanya said. Just want to serve Krishna without asking something in return, even not wanting release from birth and death. So that inner attitude, unless that inner attitude is there, you follow these rules and regulations, but don't understand really the purpose. The purpose is your inner attitude, your character must be reformed. And that requires humility, tolerance, and so on, Lord Chaitanya said. And that is developed by hearing daily the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and so on. Then by discussing every day, you come in the right position. And the right position is Sambandha Jnana, knowing who Krishna is, who we are, and what our relationship is. If you don't have knowledge of that, and you practice this, for the sake of practicing, the heart will not become purified. Does that help, Chayad Vajpama?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you very much. I think in my case, my realization is that without the sadhu sangha, even though you're trying very hard and you don't get the mercy of the devotees, it's very difficult to make advancement.
Yeah, that's Sharadananda wrote Prema Vivakta, and there he speaks about the importance of sadhu sangha. And it says, if you chant and you are not chanting in association of devotees, the holy name, something what resembles the holy name comes out of your mouth, but it's not really the holy name. So he is very strict about that, Sharadananda. Thank you, Chayad Vajpama. I appreciate your comment and your sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Have a nice day.
You
Jai
too.
Prabhupada.
Haribol.
Haribol.